YouTube, welcome back to another YouTube video. It's honestly been a pretty fun journey exploring the A320 again, more on my own time and being able to teach based off of what I learned from others and just solidifying my knowledge and understanding of this aircraft and hopefully someday getting a type rating in this plane because I love it so much. Anyways, today I want to talk about something that isn't widely covered, or at least not to me. I didn't learn about this until recently, but it's the engine mode selector. So you have your crank and you have your engine start mode selector, and I want to quickly talk about the crank and the manual start procedure with that. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to go here, get our batteries on. Got our 24 volts. Give it a minute for the instruments to light up. If external power is available, we'll apply external power. Go to our electrical synoptic page. We're not going to go through the entire thing. Yeah, we're not going to go through the electrical synoptic, but I just want to talk about the engine starting procedure with this aircraft. We're going to start the APU, because we're going to need bleed air for this. And what is crank? Alright, so yeah, engine starting procedures and what is crank. Alright, you know what? Hold on. Alright, boom, perfect. Alright, this is exactly what I wanted to do. So, we're on our APU right now, and we've got our bleed air on, and we're actually going to talk about what do you do with this crank right here, because this isn't usually used when you're starting the engine, right? No, it's not, because it's not supposed to be used. That's not the purpose of crank. The purpose of the crank mode on this engine mode selector is to ventilate the engine. This is for engine ventilation purposes only. So let's say you have a bad start procedure because you have residual fuel that's lying inside of the engine, or you have any extra vapor that didn't get burnt out throughout the last starting procedure, last engine operation, then you use this crank to ventilate it, and as well as tailpipe fires. And when I refer to as tailpipe fires, I'm talking about here on the engine, your tailpipe where your exhaust comes out. Sometimes residual fuel gets caught up in there, and this tailpipe will light up, and you'll pretty much have afterburners. Not the afterburners you want though, right? But yeah, you'll pretty much have afterburners, and the ground crew will come screaming at you like, "Hey, yo, your tailpipe's on fire! Turn it off!" Or do what you're supposed to do. So the crank mode is for engine ventilation and to extinguish any tailpipe fires. And you might be wondering, well, what's the purpose of this on a tailpipe fire? Well, this engine fire mode selector, this engine fire extinguisher, is for internal combustion. So anything within the combustion chamber inside of the turbine engine, or anything within the stages of the internal turbine engine, internal of the turbine engine, will be handled with this engine fire switch, where the squid will discharge the fire retardant to stop the engine fire accordingly. This does not cover the outside of the tailpipe of the engine to extinguish the fires. So you actually will not get an engine fire warning, nor an EGT warning on your engine mode selector. Not your engine mode selector, but on your ECAS, you're not going to get a warning when you have an engine fire because it's from the tailpipe. And so it's going to be someone visually or passengers may see, there's a whole bunch of possibilities. Especially like you see the ground crew walking around, she might see something like, "Hey, your tailpipe is on fire." anyways, I just kind of talked in a circle. Let's get to the actual procedure itself. So let's say we're on a normal engine start procedure, and I'm going to show you, or actually we're not on a normal engine start procedure. Let's say that we were recommended to ventilate our engines to make sure that we get any residual fuel out, and just to clean our engine to make sure that we don't get any unnecessary combustion happening that is outside of the combustion chamber. So what we'll do, we verified our APU bleed is on. We'll come to our pneumatic page and verify that our APU is providing bleed air to engines 1 and 2. So we can verify here we're getting approximately 22 psi from our bleed air, and the temperature of that air is 165 Celsius. Alright, so we have bleed air going to engines 1 and 2, and let's say that engine 1 is the engine that we are wanting to ventilate. So first, before we set our engine mode selector to crank, what we'll do is we'll verify that our engine mode selector switches are off, because we're not introducing fuel throughout this process. We're going to verify engine mode selectors. Our engine master switches are selected to off, and then we're going to go ahead and continue with the process. So what we'll do, select engine mode selector to crank. Once our engine is selected to crank, we will lift up our manual switch here. Manual switch guard, and we will switch the engine to on. Now we're gonna get some rising, and as you'll see, you'll see no fuel flow in introduction, because we are using compressed air in order to create engine rotation. So the entire engine is not going through its entire engine starting sequence, and then, as you can see, we are not getting any fuel flow because we are not using any fuel to manually rotate the turbines. We're using compressed air. And as you can see, the engine's not going to completely start because, again, we're not using fuel. We're only ventilating the engine. That is why we are on crank. If we come outside, you can see here that our turbine is rotating. It's basically ventilating at its max motion. So all that residual fuel that was inside of the engine is now being cleaned out, and gonna stop any fouling or any improper engine starting. Now boom. Alright. So we dry cleaned our engine, and now our engine's good, clear of any debris or any residual fuel that was left inside of it. Turn our engine manual selector switch off. We'll watch our N1 drop. N2 is also going to drop. Now, set that back to normal, and now let's say we're going for a normal engine operating start. So we're not going to use the engine mode selector, right? Or we're not going to use the manual start switches. We're going to use our actual regular switches down here. So let's say, okay, we're going to ignition / start. Bleed air will stop to the cabin, and we will start our number 1 engine. So we're going through our normal engine start procedure. Still rotating. Alright, as you can see, we have fuel now because we're going through our normal engine starting procedure. Right, okay, now they're like, hey, you've got an engine fire, or your tailpipe is on fire. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll verify that engine 1 is going to shut down. We'll shut that engine down, and then once we shut that engine down, we're going to set it to crank to ventilate it in order to stop that tailpipe fire if it was continuing to go on. So now we no longer have fuel introduced to the engine, and what we'll do is we'll select this bad boy to crank, and guess what we're going to do? We're going to go to our manual selector switch, select our affected engine, which in this case is engine 1, turn that bad boy on, and it's going to ventilate it. As you can see, again, we're using compressed air. We're not using fuel in order to ventilate our engine because it doesn't make no sense to use fuel to ventilate our dang turbines. That makes absolutely no sense. Right? Alright, boom. So that is the basic understanding or general understanding of dry crank procedures on an Airbus A320. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.